everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about my fragrance collaboration with 400 and 1,000 and a million. My fragrance collaboration with 4,160 Tuesdays, Sarah McCartney. I've spoken about it a few times, but this is really a short video just to help you choose if it's something you're considering buying. This is going to help you choose between the three different options. There's more than three options, but there's three strengths of the fragrance. So I've got them here. These are all I have, and there are three strengths. So if you go on the crowdfunding page, which I will of course link below, you will see that there's quite a lot of different perks, and you choose a perk and you can choose whether you just have one of the formulations or whether you have a combination, and they're in different sizes as well. If there's something there, if there's not a perk that you want, if for example you wanted 3 50 mils, one of each, you can always email Sarah McCartney. Her details are on the contact page on the Indiegogo site. You can email Sarah and ask her to put a perk in there that you want, and she can do that for you. If you have any shipping inquiries, postage inquiries, logistics, anything like that, then please direct those directly to Sarah McCartney. I'm not making the perfume physically and I'm not shipping it. I will have nothing to do with that side of things. So any questions, please speak to Sarah about those. She's very, very helpful. But let's get on with the actual differences between the three formulations. So in perfumery, you obviously have different formulations. Now, the lightest one that we have with Hush Hush is the EDT, so Eau de Toilette. That has been going by the name C1, and that's the one I have here. And this is actually my favourite in terms of the way that it smells. We found when we went through all the different options that Sarah created, I found that the lighter options were the ones where you could smell all the different nuances of what we wanted the perfume to smell of. Nothing really overshadowed anything. Because of the lightness, everything had the opportunity to shine. But with a lighter formulation, with an eau de toilette, of course, it's not as strong, so it won't last as long. Now, I've had the EDT on my hand for a couple of hours, and I can still smell it. It's still there, and I know from past experience, I've just taken my watch off so I can spray it on my wrist. I know that it does last quite well, but it just doesn't project a lot after the first couple of hours. So if performance is really important to you, if you want to spray and be done for the day, then the EDT might not be for you. But if you want to smell something that is as close to my vision as possible, and you don't mind respraying once or twice during the day, you may well find the EDT is the one. So all of them have the same notes in general. They are violet, musks, woods. There is some vanilla. The vanilla definitely varies between the different formulas. I'll get into that. I would say that the EDT has probably the least noticeable amount of vanilla in it. When it does dry down, you will definitely smell a little bit of vanilla mixing in with the woods and the musks, and a little bit left of the violetiness. There is a tiny bit of rose in here. There's also a tiny bit of orange blossom, and I think they just really add to the violet floral nature. So I wouldn't expect to really pick them out. I don't think I do. Rather, they just generally create a floralness that mixes with the violet, and the violet is really the floral that I notice the most. So I get a mintiness from this. There's no mint listed, but I do get a mintiness. It's almost like, so there is a cigarette box note in here as well. So as I say, all of these have the same notes. It's just that they appear in different ways, and different heavinesses. Certain nuances are more noticeable than in in one formula than in another. So with the EDT, the opening for me is absolutely amazing. I love it. It is by far my favourite of the three, especially because of that opening. So it smells a bit like silk. It smells a bit minty. It smells a little bit like silk. I've got a silk scarf on here actually. It smells like silk. It smells a little minty. It smells like a bit like a cigarette box, and also it reminds me of going into a really old-fashioned sweet shop, that, you know, tobacconist sweet shop. So you can kind of smell like a slight fruity sweetness, paper bags that you would have the sweets in, and cigarette boxes. It definitely has a bit of a woodiness underneath, but it's not really strong and harsh and noticeable. And then in the dry down, it's very much sort of clean musks, fluffy vanilla, and just think soft textures. It's subtle in the dry down. It definitely is your skin, but better in the dry down. And one of the things we wanted to create was perfume on an item of clothing perhaps the next day. So like that muted perfume feel, which I love. I love it. Sometimes I pick up a jumper that I've already worn before and I put it on and I think, wow, this smells absolutely amazing. And you can't remember for, you know, you really work hard to try and remember what the hell you were wearing because you love the way it smells now so much. But actually it is that muted, when you've got all that sort of musky, all the base notes, and they're all muted and everything's all lovely and it's fluffy on a lovely item of clothing. It's just so nice, and that's what we wanted to achieve with this fragrance. Yeah, I do get something slightly vintage from here, and it just makes me think of different textures, and again going back to sort of cloves, suede, silk. There is iris in here as well. Iris can bring a suede-like nature to things. So yeah, suede like silk. I absolutely love it. So the EDT, amazing. The way that it smells is perfection. It's exactly, I couldn't have imagined it. I mean, I had my ideas, but what Sarah's brought is perfection, and I couldn't have imagined it to be this good. But if performance is a key issue for you, then probably the EDT is not for you. If I was going to order, I would get a big bottle of the EDT and then a smaller bottle of the EDP. That's what I would do based on my taste. But let's move on to the EDP now. I think I've got something on my lip. Can't see anything. Okay. So let's move on to the EDP. So again, it's been on my hand the same amount of time, a couple of hours, and I'm going to refresh onto the wrist. So of course, same notes, it's just that they appear differently. So this is not the exact same formulation, just at different strengths. Actually, each of these is slightly different formula. I feel like I still get a little mintiness from the Eau de Parfum. Maybe it's not so clear with the cigarette boxy type thing. It's all there, you can still smell it all, but that cigarette box isn't quite as pronounced in the Eau de Parfum. I still get the textures, I still get suede and silk. And for me, the Eau de Parfum is more vanillic. So, especially into the dry down, it's not obviously vanillic when you first spray it. It's probably a little more on the woody side than the EDT. Yeah, I'd say it is. And then into the dry down, more vanillic. But it's not a vanilla perfume. You would just notice the vanilla as it starts to come out on your skin, along with the other notes as well. So yeah, the key differences for me anyway, and this is just my perception, I don't know what the differences in the amount of ingredients are, but my perception, the EDP is more vanillic, maybe slightly more woody, just less airy. It's a little heavier. It's not heavy, it's not cloying, but it's just a little heavier. Still amazing. I still absolutely love it. Definitely get this amazing, not eucalyptus, what's the word, menthol, a mentholated type thing from it. It's almost like a cigarette box isn't just cigarettes, it's a menthol cigarette box. And yeah, I really love it. But EDT still is my favourite. EDP, very close second. But in terms of performance, EDP gives you EDP performance. It will last all day. And it's really good. So that's the EDP. Now, there was something on my lips. Now then, let's go for the Parfum. So Parfum has been going by the name I. Not really a name, but it's just how Sarah's been able to tell all the different variations apart. So the now this is really interesting, the Parfum. I did a side-by-side yesterday of the Parfum versus the EDP, and I actually didn't find the Parfum to last any longer than the EDP. The Parfum to me is more woody. There are some aroma chemicals in all of these, cashmere and isoe super, and I think that I noticed them the most in the Parfum. It's less of the menthol. It still definitely has this menthol feel, but it's less mentholy, if that's even a word. Mentholy, let me know. Sorry, I've got a cold, so there's a bit of noisy breathing going on and some sniffing and stuff. Yeah, definitely still does have that menthol feel. But what I start to get, once the alcohol sort of dissipated, I do get more of the cashmere and isoe. So it is a little more on that woody, musky, papery side. It's very smooth though. I don't think it's harsh, but it is drier. Out of all of them, the Parfum is the driest and the woodiest. So if that's not your thing, stick with the EDT or the EDP. But of course, those dry, like the cashmere and the isoe, do mean that it lasts really, really well on the skin. It's not a beast mode. Usually when you have a Parfum or an extract concentration, they're not actually supposed to be beast mode. They usually sit closer to the skin, but they just last very, very well. And I think that's the case here. But I wouldn't call it a skin scent either. You definitely will smell it wafting around you for hours. So, I mean, that's really the key difference. I feel like the Parfum is just a bit more on the dry, woody side. The other notes, therefore, are not quite as noticeable. Whereas in the EDT, which is the lightest formulation, of course, all the notes shine really beautifully and ethereally. But you do pay the price for the performance. The Parfum is beautiful though. But just to be aware that it is a bit more woody and a bit more dry. And then the EDT. There's something about this clean, musky, fluffy violetiness. It's just amazing. And EDP, definitely richer, more of a presence to it. So I hope that helps. I've managed to make this 15 minutes, so I just can't stop waffling on sometimes. If you're interested in trying any of the formulations, then the link is in the description box. I don't make any money from this. I just want to make that clear. This is not a business thing for me. It's an absolute pleasure. It's a dream come true, and I absolutely love what Sarah has created. And I'm just so honoured that Sarah wanted to work with me on this, and I'm really pleased that Sarah actually loves what we've created as well. So that just makes me so happy. And I really hope that you like it too. The fragrances will be sent out, I think, around about the June mark. But all the information is over on that Indiegogo page. Just go and have a good old read, watch the videos and make your choices. That's it then. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.